It is the fall of 1802, and the English army spots the disembarking forces of the Kingdom of Prussia. The English king quickly orders his men to get into position as they prepare for a fight that will decide the fate of Scandinavia. The area we know today as Scandinavia was a heavily contested region during the 1800s. Three superpowers competed for its resources at the start of the 19th century. Great Britain seeking to prevent any power from taking Scandinavia, fearing that this development could potentially trigger the creation of a fleet in nearby Norway. The Kingdom of Prussia, worried about the rising power in the east and wishing to expand its influence into its fellow Germanic brethren. And the Tsardom of Russia, seeking to secure its capital of St. Petersburg from an invasion in the north and to defend its borders by expanding them. In the fall of 1801, Russia sent an army under the command of Russian General Makoto into Sweden, quickly taking control and annexing it into its expanding empire. After seeing this, British and Prussian diplomats agreed to an alliance to prevent Russia from expanding any further into Scandinavia, and agreed to enter Norway and Denmark respectively. Shortly after the Russian annexation of Sweden, Prussia makes its move on Denmark, and an army under Prussian King Eliman I enters Copenhagen. The Brits also attempt to make their move on Norway, however it is too late. The time it took the British to assemble a fleet large enough to carry their army across the North Sea was just enough time for the Russians to be able to send their army under the command of Makoto into Norway. Luckily for the Brits, due to the Russians' proximity to the coast, their ships were able to bombard the Russian artillery batteries, taking two of them out. This would be crucial in the upcoming battle. When the British forces finally disembarked in their entirety, Russian forces have already fortified themselves inside the town, and many of the British officers attempt to pressure their king into attacking the Russians head-on. However, the British king, knowing better than to charge headfirst into a fortified town filled with enemies, uses his large amounts of artillery to his advantage. He begins to ruthlessly bombard the town and sends his cavalry in an attempt to destroy the remaining artillery batteries which the Russians possess. However, in this crucial point of the battle, Army General Makoto dies from an artillery shot while riding with his men to meet the British. The panic among the cavalry allows the British to aim their guns and obliterate them before the most senior officer, Ezo, is able to take command. Ezo remains indecisive, unwilling to order a charge against the British. After being bombarded by the British cannons for hours without end, Ezo decides to surrender, giving up both the city and his army to the British king.